Welcome back to Purdum Projects. Got Rosie in the shop today. It's about time to do some brake work on her. You know the old saying goes, mechanic's daily driver is the most neglected vehicle. I'm here to tell you it's true. We're gonna go through a checklist, make sure I got everything I need, and then I'm gonna show you how to change your brakes on a 92 to 96 OBS F150 4x4 flavor. First things first, make sure you got some water. Check. Make sure you have reputable name brand parts, definitely not junk you bought on eBay. Check. Nice air-cooled shop, concrete floor. Check. Make sure you're in a cool environment. Check. And make sure you have all the tools you need. Check. Should be easy. Bring you all in, we'll get started. Got her face up in the air here. These twin traction beams can be a little tricky to jack up. There's just a lot going on. But when you're on a nice level concrete floor like I am, I like to use the dual jack 15 jack stand method just to be safe, because you know I have a wife and 2 kids that care about me. So, but man, look at this truck. This thing is clean. I've done a lot of work to this truck over the years. I want to try and take care of it. So while I got wheels still on it, I'm going to check these wheel bearings, because it's never an easy job and it's never just brakes. So let's give her a spin. That one sounds and feels pretty good. Let's check the passenger princess side over here. Okay. So it looks like we're going to be checking wheel bearings. I'm going to get my impact hooked up and get these wheels off and dig in. Time to pop a wheel off. All right, Rosie. Let there be no surprises. I'm basically a basically a NASCAR pit stop. I could have been a NASCAR pit crew chief. I could have been a NASCAR pit crew chief. Alright. Okay, what are we looking at? Yep, you need brake pads, that's for sure, and the brake caliper, and your toes don't feel too bad. Guide pins seem to move good-ish. Okay. Tools, and if any of you have ever worked with brakes, you know the slippery slope, getting the lines disconnected from the hose. It's the best part. Oh. Getting too old for this. Alright, so we're going to start getting this brake line. This is a T brake hose, so there's one here and there's one behind it. And I imagine the hardest part of this project is going to be getting these freed from here without just snapping those. But hey, you just got to jump in and dive head first and see if you make it out alright. And we'll try to find a wrench for that. Probably won't, so I'll just find a random wrench or a pair of locking pliers and get it off that way. So let's see what we can do. Sometimes I get a little lucky. I did soak these in penetrating oil for like 17 months while I was procrastinating, and looks like it actually won the good fight. Now you can be a little more careful because I'm going to spill a lot of brake fluid here, but look, you're going to make a mess. I'm getting it all on my shop floor. I'm very sad about that. It's going to be okay because it's got to get worse before it gets better. Now let's see if I had that same luck with the one that's buried behind here. Yeah, we'll see. Doubtful. Update, I got both lines free. Imagine that. So now there's a little retainer clip behind here that I've got to get free, get this line off, and I can just bust the caliper off. So another little life hack, don't throw your baby's formula cans out. Listen, they have so many purposes that are not even listed on the can, okay? And even if your baby isn't done with the formula, just dump it out and use it for this, because listen, this is important. So on these brake hoses here, see how this one's a T? Not all of them are like that, but it's got this hex notch that fits right in there, threads up to the crossover line, and then that's the feed line for the master cylinder. It just goes down, pumps it full of brake juice. Get this caliper off. There should be 2 guide bolts that go to the bracket. Get those off and the caliper should come off. I don't think I've got to take this bracket off. It may be actually, yeah, it looks like it's actually made onto the hub, which is good. I like this design a lot. Good job, Ford. Alright, those guide bolts came off very easy. Here's the caliper. The only reason I'm doing this, she's starting to show a little bit of signs of brake wear. You know, long travel in the pedal, kind of pulling to one side. And I think the other side's a culprit, but I'll show you on this side. So when these brake hoses, these little brake snakes, go bad, they can actually restrict the flow of brake fluid one way or the other. Which, if one side's acting different than the other, then your truck or car is going to pull one way. And I'm thinking the other side, I think she's about ready for retirement. This one doesn't feel too bad, but it's really hard to test these. This one's probably never been replaced in a long time because I've had the truck for a long time and has never replaced it. So it's just time. I'm going to get these pads out and these clips, and I'm going to compare everything to the new stuff that I got. And it's safe to say, I mean, there's a little bit money's left on that, but you got to remember, the farther in you run these, the more you're going to damage your rotors. Or same concept for drums if you got shoes, or excuse me, same concept for shoes if you got drum brakes. You don't want to wear into this any more than you have to. I should take these and get them turned and or replace them, but I'm not, because it doesn't look too bad. Plenty of meat left on them. I don't see any uneven grooves, wear pattern, anything broken, anything crazy. It's a little crack right there. I think we caught it just in time. So this one I'm working with here, brake caliper. See, I like that it says that. Just say what you are. There's a part number. It's a cheap little kit off Amazon or eBay, I don't know. Expect more. I think I already did. So let's see if it holds up. I mean, it says, what is that? A premium. So basically what I got here is top of the line. They run these in NASCAR. These will be just fine. So let's look and see. You can get in here. How do people do this with one hand? Let me get in here and pull them out and we'll compare them. All right. Not too shabby. Good job, A Premium brake calipers. You can't expect more. So far they look good. They're not rusting in the box. They got their penny washers here for the brake hose. It's got the guide boot bolts and sleeves in. We'll make sure those move. So I don't remember these. I don't remember if these move or not. Pretty sure they do a little bit. That's good. Sometimes you can get the cheap calipers online. They don't have some of the hardware in. You gotta try to use that junk. Pretty good little set. Break the hoses out, and I think this is pads maybe. And I'm hoping they have the clips. And then I also got some brake slide glide. You want to keep those pads and clips moving, because as when you hit your brakes, right, and most will say for this application here, you got a master cylinder with a vacuum booster, hit the brakes, there's a piston, causes fluid movement down the hose down to this piston, and then this piston here, when it receives hydraulic pressure, it moves. And so your brake pads and rotors will sit in here and they'll move a little bit. So this unit moves. So you got to keep some of the metal lubed up, so number one, it can move freely. Number two, you don't sound like a squealing chipmunk down the road. And I know everyone here watching thinks that's annoying, because I do too. So unbox the rest of this and should be able to go ahead and button up this side. All right, so probably the biggest tip that I can give you, and you know, I'm no expert by any means and never will claim to be one. Here's my shop cat. Meow. Crusher. He's my quality control manager. He's just making sure I'm following quality and safety and fancy words people use in businesses. So biggest tip, which is why I kind of like to wait. I'm the kind of guy that likes to tear everything down, see what I got, see what it looks like, then order it, because you never know with vehicles and brands like, you know, General Motors and Ford. Not just them, just picking on them. Sometimes the different years, different makes, models, packages, stuff changes, and you never know what you're going to get. So lay it all out, see what it looks like, then order it. That way you don't tear everything down, get the wrong parts in. But I've worked on enough of this style of truck where I'm pretty certain what I'm going to get into. But just a little tip. Nice little brake pad box set from Detroit Axle. Comes with the clips, comes with the little forbidden sauce here for the brakes. So there's what I was running on. You can kind of see the rivets that hold this. It's probably just metallic compound on. Once it gets down to these rivets, you can say goodbye to this shiny disc here. But this right here will give us all the braking power we need. So not too bad. Cheap little set. Don't be afraid to get out here and, you know, tackle your brakes with stuff you buy on Amazon. It's perfectly safe. So I should have everything I need to put this back together. I don't see any issues. the other side, probably would pause here. I don't know if I'm gonna record that side or not. Pull this hub out, look at the bearings, look at the race. I've been in these hubs before, hence the professional RTV here. These are it's always been loose, and if you really do any off-road, and you'll soak these with water, and I try to prevent that, but you know, looks like it lasted for probably 50 seconds after I did it. But right here, you do the wood bearing check. That seems fine. No need to go further into that. So I'm gonna put my focus back to getting these brakes back on here. So do the reverse of installation, and hopefully no issues. We'll see. It's hot. If you're doing this outside, make sure you're drinking beer, sweet tea, sodas, you know, something to keep you hydrated, because it's important. So yeah. So I'm talking about lubing up the pins and stuff, the pins, slides, the ears on the pads. That's what I'm talking about right there. Just put your little dollop on there. What that does is, as the system moves in and out, it gives it just a little bit of lubrication so it doesn't squeak and annoy you to death. Now don't be afraid. Now it's not gonna last forever, obviously, you know, but it'll help, trust me. Just don't put it on this or the pads unless you just like to party. Once you got the pads on, you just want to make sure you have good contact in there. They sit right, they look right, they feel right. And now I can put the caliper on and feel pretty good about it. These are probably one of my favorite setups, if I'm not lying. You know, no cap, as the kids say. You got a bracket that doesn't move. You got strong clips, no spacers needed, nothing crazy. Good latch system on the back of the brake pad to the caliper. I like it, the guide bolt system works really well. Easy access to bleeder and hose. A little sight glass. Not a bad little setup. Tighten up the guide bolts. One thing I like to do once I do this is spin the hub, because sometimes I've had weird things happen where for one reason or another something will bind up and this won't spin, and you want to find that out now before you get everything done, bleed the brakes, and the truck doesn't move, or moves very slowly because you got a brake locked up. So don't be afraid to check yourself every step of the way, because believe you me, it'll save you time. And if you don't believe me, just do that and you'll eventually find out what I'm talking about. Pull the banjo bolt, and I guess it's called a banjo bolt because if you listen to it, you hear it? Yeah, me neither. I don't know why they call it banjo bolt. Anyway, take you some brake cleaner with a straw and blow through here. That's where your fluid enters through the hose, and there can get trash in here, and I've seen it. And make sure you're not doubling up copper washers. So I got to remove that one and put a fresh one on the top, and then the hose will fit right here, and then you put one on the caliper side, and that'll act as your gasket. Right there, I'll take that plug out, put me some washers down, and run the hose. That's what I'm talking about. Copper washer, brake hose, copper washer, caliper, and cinch that down, and that'll create your seal. Now I can just boop boop boop, plug her back in. This is where I'm stopping day one. I gotta, you know, go get some pizza and some beer. It's about that time. So I'll pick up the next day, buttoning all this up, and then I can probably go and throw the wheel on this side once I clean all my brake fluid mess. Man, all over my nice undercoated frame. Can you believe that? And then the other side should be more the same, except we've got to look at why that wheel bearing is roaring like an uncaged lion. I'm not excited about that, but better to find it now than when your wheel's smoking on the side of the road. It's 9:30 at night, no one can come help you. So almost seems like I've been there.